Welcome to Classic Banjo Lessons. We're going to do the second banjo part for Mountain Polka now. One of the greatest things about playing music for me is being able to play with other people. It's like you learn another language and then you get to have conversations using that language. And then even around other people who haven't learned that language to the same extent as you have, they can still appreciate it. It's so wonderful. So with classic banjo, oftentimes the second banjo parts are quite simple and chordal based, rhythmically simple. It doesn't mean they're easy. So what we're doing with the second banjo part here is we're just making chord shapes, and we're going to be really sensitive with our right hand to pay attention to and respond to what the first banjo player is doing. So we want to be never overpowering them, right? Because they're playing the lead part. We can help accentuate things by playing staccato or legato. We can also contribute something with dynamics occasionally, but again, we don't want to go overboard. So I'll play through the chords for you at a slow tempo, and of course you can take liberties with this as long as you're playing the chords. I'll show you after I play what's written. I'll show you some other things you can do. So Mountain Polka, second banjo. Accenting the downbeat. Rest. Pretty fun. You know, some banjo players prefer to play second banjo parts, just learn lots of second banjo parts. It really poses its own set of challenges. I personally do not do a lot of second banjo because I'm working a lot with a piano player. But you may have noticed, you know, one thing I was doing a lot of legato. And then, inconsistently, when I got to the E7 every time, it would become staccato. That's not a great musical choice necessarily. That's just a technical, you know, I wasn't really thinking about it. But I would like to point out some of the finer things you can do. So when you have, especially when you have all your fingers down, like in a D minor chord, you can have it ringing like that, legato, right? But you also have the choice of making each note staccato. Now another choice you can make is have some of those notes ringing some of the time and staccato other parts of the time. So you could kind of do dot, as opposed to dot 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 dot, or do dot dot dot. You can also do that. So, you know, I talked about stopping the strings with your left or right hand in a previous episode. You might want to use your right hand sometimes to stop the strings, right? If you're, you know, like in the case of a G7 chord, So these are just some of the finer points. This, you know, you might look at this and think, it's boring, it's not as interesting. That's not the case. It's actually even more interesting in some ways because it's more subtle. So I'll go through and play it slowly, so you have something you can play along with to practice. So let's do the same tempo that we had before. 8th note at 100 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and. Try doing things with your right hand. And repeat. Back to the top. Right, now before I leave you, I'm going to tell you one more thing you can do. You can try different patterns. So instead of what's written, you can just follow the chords that are written. So for C, you know, you could try instead of going single note chord chord chord, you could go single note chord single note chord. For example. And you could make different combinations like that. As you get further on, learning different inversions up and down the neck, you can use that as well. You could, you know. Just stuff to play around with. So that's Mountain Polka, second banjo part. And I'm Aaron Jonah Lewis. Thank you for joining me for Classic Banjo Lessons. We'll see you next time.